Okay, so today we'll be looking at Call of the Dead, and I think a lot like all of the other Black Ops Zombies maps, the original Black Ops specifically, it did add a lot to the mode that did return, and did keep returning and get improved upon over time. But with Call of the Dead specifically, I think they did very unique things with the map, and some of which never returned, some of which returned in some way or another. But regardless, I think the map is quite unique in some ways. So as always, today we'll be going over Call of the Dead, what it added to zombies, what it did differently, what it kind of set up that would always kind of return in the future, and my own personal thoughts on the map, and maybe some opinions that people have of the map online. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the main big thing that Call of the Dead did was with its cast of characters, and this is something that returned over and over again with the later entries in the zombies mode, but you would play as celebrities playing themselves in the game. And while that specific kind of way of showing it didn't return, you still had these celebrity stars that would appear in zombies on certain maps and play the characters you were playing. With this map specifically, the map kind of theme is they were making a movie, and then during the making of this movie, an actual zombie kind of apocalypse hit them. So the characters in this map, you have Sarah Michelle Gellar, who I'm going to try and give examples of things they've done that you may have seen. For Sarah Michelle Gellar, I believe she is Buffy in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and if you were kind of a kid at the same time I was, she also played Daphne in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, so she's quite familiar, I think mainly for those two things. Next up we have Michael Rooker, and two big things I think most people recognise him for is he plays Merle Dixon in the first few seasons of The Walking Dead, and he plays Yondu in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. After that we have Robert Englund. He is Freddy Krueger in most of the original Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and he also appears in the latest season of Stranger Things. And then finally with Danny Trejo, I couldn't think of many things I've seen him in. I can only think of a couple of things, and they're very different from each other. But the two things I could think of when I think of the actor is he plays a character in the movie called From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a vampire movie, and he also plays Rose's dad in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So yeah, there were your four kind of characters that appeared in this map, and again, they played themselves. And like I said, the kind of like guest star actors do appear in maps later on, but alongside those characters you also had the roaming boss of the map, George Romero, and he is well known for making a lot of older zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead, all those kind of movies, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, all of those movies he makes, and he's like a big name when it comes to zombie movies. And yeah, he plays a roaming boss on the map, so he gets turned into a zombie right at the start, and he follows you around all the time on the map. You can kill him. It takes a lot of bullets, but you can kill him. He does respawn eventually. But basically what you want to do is just kind of leave him alone. If you shoot him, he gets enraged and he starts running, and you have to kind of walk into the water to slow him down again. But yeah, he's like an ever-staying presence on the map, and he will not go away unless you kill him. And even if you do kill him, it'll only be a few rounds and he'll come back again. That is one of the things I think Call of the Dead does that's quite unique. Obviously, a lot of other maps and a lot of future maps do have bosses that spawn in randomly, but with George Romero's character in this game, he's there from the very start, and it's up to you if you want to kill him or not, but if you don't, he's not going to go away. So it's like this ever-present boss, and it's pretty cool to see. Also interesting that we didn't actually see another version of this in the future, which is weird, because I quite enjoyed the kind of permanent boss on the map. I don't know how you guys feel about that. In terms of additions to Call of the Dead, we had one new perk on Call of the Dead, as opposed to two from Ascension, and it was Deadshot Daiquiri. And this one's kind of heavily kind of 50-50 in opinion. Basically all it does is makes your end down sights just stick to the head straight away, and I guess it's useful for certain things, but you wouldn't usually take it over like the base 4 perks. And with the addition of Stamina Up and PhD from Ascension, there is just better perks to choose over Deadshot Daiquiri. On top of that, we had two new wonder weapons, and they were both unique to the map and never returned after the fact, which is really weird. So first of all, we had the Scavenger Sniper Rifle, and this was a bolt action sniper rifle that literally followed bolts, and over a period of time those bolts would explode and do loads of damage, and it was very, very strong till reasonably high rounds. The second wonder weapon, however, was very interesting, and it was the VR11, and I would say in solo, outside of the Easter egg, it's pretty much useless. It doesn't really kill anything, it doesn't do much damage, but with co-op, it is very, very strong, and basically what you can do is shoot your teammate and they'll get buffed by it, and it will essentially give them insta-kill for a little bit. So if you kind of hold it as like a support weapon, shoot your teammates with it, they're going to be able to do loads of damage, and it really does help, again, on those higher rounds. And I think the next big thing that they added to Call of the Dead was ways to get around the map. I know that Ascension had it with like the landers and stuff, but this map really did kind of add the optional routes you could take in the form of zip lines and a launch pad. It just made it getting around the map a lot easier. And again, a lot of maps in the future did kind of add these optional kind of routes to take or ways to get around the map quicker. And it's always appreciated, especially on big maps like this, which again, I would say Call of the Dead is a fairly big map in comparison to most others. Also, on the topic of having like celebrity characters be in the game, the secret song on this map was actually made by a band that already exists. A lot of the music made for the old Zombies maps before this are in-house, they're made by Treyarch Sound Studios. But with this map, they introduced their song made by Avenged Sevenfold, which is a metal band that I used to really enjoy listening to. But yeah, the song they made for this map was actually made for the map specifically, and this isn't the first time they'll do this. They actually come back quite a few times on the Treyarch Zombies games to make songs for the maps, and they're all really good. So definitely worth listening to if you haven't already. And then the final big thing with Call of the Dead was the Easter egg. And the Easter egg in this map was interesting because unlike Ascension, where you had to have 4 players to do it, I believe this one you could do it solo or with 4 people. And this was good because, you know, it gave you more opportunity to do the Easter eggs in the map. This one was quite fun, it was fairly easy, it was straightforward, you could learn it solo, you could learn it with friends. And that is, again, a pattern that continued. Not every map in the future had a solo to 4 player Easter egg, some of them were still 4 players. But most maps give you the opportunity to do the Easter egg with however many players you wanted, and that was definitely a step in the right direction. In terms of Pack-a-Punch on this map, or obviously every map has like a way to do Pack-a-Punch. This one was fairly simple. All you had to do was turn the power on, and that would activate the lighthouse, and the lighthouse light would point to a direction, and that would be where the Pack-a-Punch machine is. And eventually it would move, and the light would look somewhere else, and that would be where Pack-a-Punch is. So it just moved. There was no setup, it would just turn the power on, find Pack-a-Punch, and you're pretty much good to go. But yeah, the map itself, let's talk about the map itself. So, I don't think it's bad. I think when it first came out, there was a bit of a diverse opinion to if it was good or not. I think, again, at first when it came out, because of the new boss mechanic and the way the map worked, and I think at first people just found it difficult, and it is a map I do believe that, you know, it does take practice, you know, you gotta know where everything is, you gotta know what's good. But at the same time, as soon as you have all that down, the boss becomes a joke because you can kind of ignore him or kill him really quickly. There's a really popular training spot on this map just under the lighthouse, and it's very good, especially solo. So if you haven't tried it, definitely do it. I'm sure there's loads of videos out there going over the spot itself, but definitely give it a go. But the one thing I see about this map a lot that is a complaint and is an issue with the map and the other guns you have access to is around 100 solo is practically impossible, and it kind of annoys people who kind of go for higher rounds because it is just that hard. It takes a long time to get really far on this map. That mainly comes down to the weapons what you have access to, the wonder weapons specifically. If you didn't know, a lot of the wonder weapons like the thunder gun and the wonder warp and stuff like that have like an infinite damage kind of range, like it will just keep going. But with the scavenger, it drops off quite early on to the point where it does next to nothing, so you won't really be able to kill anything. And the only way to really get high rounds on this map effectively is to go into a co-op match, use the VR11, buff your teammate, and let him insta-kill pretty much everything, and just use that as your main kind of source of killing things. It is a complaint, it is an issue that's been there since the map came out, but I would say, aside from that, the map is very well done. There's plenty of options to camp, there's plenty of options to train, the Easter egg is solid, the additions of the boss and the zip lines and stuff like that were really fun. The wonder weapons, outside of them losing power later on, are very fun to use, and I would say the map's quite up there for me as one of my favourites. But yeah, that's pretty much Call of the Dead. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the map? Do you not like the map? Have you ever played it before? Obviously, this map did get remade in Black Ops 4 as Tag to Toten. It's a little bit different. There are a lot of things that are different, and I was kind of contemplating making one video about both of them, but they are different enough that I'm going to talk about both of them in a separate video. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy and subscribe for more zombies content. As always, I'll catch you in the next one.